Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Mi casa es su casa, and mi casa is also some kind of China, I believe. Anyway, that term roughly translates as my house is not a place for you to come over, eat my potato chips, drink my soda, and play my video game systems. So get out, you're not my friend. And I appreciate the rough translation as given to me by the friendly chatters at live.pirillo.com, who, at this very moment, as you're watching this video, are likely talking about that very thing, video games. They won't shut up about it. Every day, it's like Groundhog Day. They're always talking about it. Apparently, video games are a way of life now. Anyway, I've got a top 10 list that has nothing to do with video games, but it does have to do with a house. Maybe your house, maybe you don't have a house yet, maybe you want a house, but you don't really know how to get the house. Well, JC Geek Girl from the chat room decided to submit this list, and yes, she is both a geek and a girl, which is very appropriate because, you know, calling her Fred would just kind of be confusing in a lot of ways. Maybe she is Fred. I don't know. It's the internet. On the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. It says, hey, Chris, I've been watching your stream for a short while, and I just wanted to come up with some tips that will hopefully come in handy if you haven't used them yet. Now, she works for a company involved in real estate, and so her tips are real estate related. Very targeted, very good. 10 tips, and in fact, these tips, wonderfully written, but so extensive, like extensive, like long, extensive, that I'm not going to be able to read the whole thing. I'm going to, do my best to make through a few, and I'm going to skim. So if you want the full notes, you want to read the blog entry on my blog at chris.pirillo.com, or what you could do is basically probably Google real estate tips Pirillo and find it that post that way. Honestly, that's the easiest way to find stuff on my blog is going to Google. It's kind of sad. Number 1, you don't have to use an agent. I can't stress this enough. Agents have made the process of buying and selling property such a mystery, many people are afraid to embark on this journey without one. However, there are instances where an agent is a good idea, such as you live in another state from the property and need someone to show it, or you don't have time to hit the payment and do the work a real estate agent might sell on your own, or work of a real estate agent to sell on your own. So the bottom line there is, if you take a lot of time out of your regular day to do the research on your own, you can really do a lot on your own. And we've gone through agents before. In Ponzi, my wife, her background is in the mortgage industry, so we were able to navigate a lot of the paperwork. And I tell you, I mean, I almost wish she could make a business out of it, because she doesn't work in the mortgage industry anymore because, for a lot of reasons, I'm not saying this because she's my wife, and she's not going to do this necessarily, but if you had anybody review your documentation for your mortgage or refinancing or anything, Ponzi is the person to trust. I'm not saying this because she's my wife. I'm saying it because it's an absolute fact. She saved so many of our friends money by demystifying the documentation. It's been amazing. But she said the same thing about agents as well. I mean, she knows how this game works. Number 2, you still need to advertise. There isn't an agent doing the work for you. Get ads in the local paper, for sale magazines, put signs up where you are allowed to post handbills, and hold an open house as often as possible. The more people you advertise to, the more people will see the property, increasing your chances of selling and possibly the length of time in which you'll sell. It's very true. And to do research, Ponzi still loves doing this. She watches all those home improvement shows, or like Flip This House, or Sell This House, or Improve My House, or Sell My, all those shows. And you learn so much, and you get ideas about, how to do it the next time, or, even how to, make the house that you live in even better, with small tips and tricks that really don't cost a lot. Number 3, the MLS is your friend. That stands for Multiple Listing Service. The database of realtors used to search out homes for buyers. For years, buy-owner sellers have, and BY, buy-owner sellers, have not been able to use it. Things are different now. Many agents across the country will offer you an MLS or Realtor.com listing for a flat rate. It may be the only service they provide at that low flat rate, but that potentially puts you your property in front of millions of people who wouldn't otherwise see it. I will tell you, we looked at a lot of houses in the area, and this particular house that we moved into, well, we were only able to do it because of Ponzi's fancy footwork with the mortgage documentation and her understanding, but I found it. Like, I was literally searching one of those sites and said, you know, this one looks good. It has everything that we want. And so we came out, took a look, and, you know, it ended up being the house that we got, and we love it. We love our house. Number 4, not all buy-owner websites are the same. Each one is owned by a different company. When a friend refers you, find out exactly what the address is so you know where you are really getting referred to. When you place an ad, write down the company name, address, phone number, email address, and your specific ad information. Very helpful to have so you can come back to later. Many companies take advantage of the play on words, different angles of for sale by owner. Some charge more than others, too. And she goes into a little bit of research tips as well. I know he wanted to move to another. Wicket's still upset. He wanted to move somewhere else, and we said no. It's not possible. It was too small. It was basically like a 1 bedroom, but it was more like a doghouse size. Couldn't fit my couldn't fit my monitors in there. I mean, you can't move there, right? Number 5. Now that you've listed your property somewhere, it's time for the contacts and inquiries to roll in, right? Are you prepared to sell to the first person that calls or visits the property? One way to be prepared is to ask all interested parties to bring a mortgage pre-qualification letter from their lender, stating that, yes, they can afford the house. I mean, what's the point in showing the home to someone who can't buy it? It's true. Number 6, times are tough. Scammers are getting more aggressive as the days progress. You need to be careful and research contacts and the people sending you emails regarding the property. If they're out of the country on assignment, their wife is really interested in the property, what is your bottom price? Think twice about it. It might be the difference between parting with $8,000, give or take, with nothing to show for it, and a legitimate inquiry about the property. It's costly. I don't even want to go into the nightmare story about a house that we almost got in L.A. Don't even get me started. Number 7, there's no shame in admitting that you can't handle the closing of a sale. Some people can do this process entirely on their own, but many use the services of a real estate attorney and a title company to handle all the legal aspects of the sale. Disclosures that need to be made about the property, the list goes on and on. If the closing process sounds overwhelming, don't be afraid to call someone. And like I said, I wish that Ponzi was doing, like, whether it was consulting. She doesn't have, like, official paperwork passed, so I guess legally she can't do it. But, I mean, like, she can't process the loans, but she can break it down for you. I think that's what it boils down to. I mean, she can tell you her advice, and that's pretty much what it is. But I know she's helped people, our friends. Number 8, use Google to find out those real estate terms you don't understand. In fact, Google to search the real estate terms you don't understand. Good point. But I've been trying to push Ponzi to do videos on this, and I wish she would, because there's so many people with these common questions. If we came up with a list of 50 of the most common questions that people ask, and I sat Ponzi down and had her answer those questions to the best of her ability, she would have produced 50 videos that would have helped with real estate. Would you guys totally love that? JC Geek Girl, do you know the top 50 common questions when it comes to this stuff? Because I asked her to produce it, and she couldn't do it. And I was like, well, if you had the questions, I'd flip on the camera and ask you, and then we're off to the races. I know she'd be amazing at it. She's just so, I mean, because she doesn't belong, she's not in the industry anymore, and it's certainly changed, but people still need this information. They crave this information. So if you have the top 50 list of the mortgage, questions and documentation questions, JC Geek Girl, pass them along, because I'd like to do that list with Ponzi. Number 9, nobody wants to buy property they haven't seen. And number 10, lastly, have patience. And again, there's more here than I'm going into right now. And like I said, we all at some point, most of us, well, maybe not most of us, maybe not all of us, but a good fair amount of people will buy a house in their lifetime or want to buy a house. So you really got to do research. You've got to do your homework. I think most of this industry is based on referrals. And in fact, when we first met our real estate agent, because I have no issue with working with an agent so long as they really know what they're doing. When we met him, he wasn't blogging, he didn't know what podcasting was, and then pretty much almost overnight he became somewhat of he became a local blogging celebrity in terms of like the bloggers who were local who knew about him because he's a real estate agent. Blogging actually kind of helped him. I don't know if he gained any clients from it, but it's just funny. When we met him, he didn't really know, and then suddenly he was. It's kind of cool. So yeah, technology reaches out in every aspect of our lives. Buying a house was a difficult thing to do, just very arduous, and the internet helped us find it. Love doing research. Ponzi loves researching and constantly watching the values of our, our area and the homes in our area. I mean, she knows so many tips and tricks. I would be absolutely lost without her. I would likely be still living in an apartment if it weren't for Ponzi. I kid you not, because it's just so outrageous. And if you don't know how to navigate these waters, you owe it to yourself to try to find someone to help you through this stuff. Even though you don't have to have these people, sometimes knowing the right people, can make all the difference in the world. Anyway, there's some tips for you in case you wanted to possibly sell your house, specifically without a realtor in hand. And you can do it both ways. I mean, you can have a realtor, and you may be able to negotiate how they're compensated. Like I said, I don't want to go into it right now, but there are ways to save money when it comes to buying a house with or without a realtor, without an agent, or with one. My email address is chris@pirillo.com. Maybe you got other tips related to real estate. Maybe you are Robert Kiyosaki, and you want to email me. I don't know. Donald Trump. Any real estate tips? Oh, I have no doubt. I would have been fired years ago. No doubt in my mind. I'm more interested in helping people, than, becoming a billionaire. That's my problem. And that's why it's not really much of a house. It's pretty much just this room. And the kitchen. And the outhouse. Anyway, I'm typically streaming my life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, typically talking tech, how the internet affects our lives and the careers that you might have. It's just a wonderful thing to be living in this day and age, despite the state of the real estate market. No matter, you're welcome to stop by anytime, day or night. We're at live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.